Welcome everyone to another episode of T-Shirt Driving. This time I'm doing kind of an intro, and I wanted to introduce the Polestar to Laguna Seca. So to recap, over the year, we've done the Rotora front and rear brakes, 6-piston in the front, 4-piston in the rear, running the H8 track pads for it. Wonderful results from Willow Springs. This time we get to go up to Laguna Seca. It's a dream track of mine. Super excited about it. Running the 265 3519 RE71Rs from Bridgestone, as well as the Project 6GR wheels 19 by 9.5 plus 42 offset. Wonderful track setup, and what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to do some voiceover as you guys are seeing some footage of this wonderful day out over the holiday, December 28th it was. I was out there, and yeah, it was a great time out there, learning the track, meeting the people out there, and just having a grand old time. And I hope you guys enjoy this footage as much as mine. There was one thing that I did note. I was playing around with the GoPro 7, and the video and audio is a lot better on that camera than my old Hero 3 cameras. So it's definitely something I'm looking forward to playing with and looking into getting into the... I didn't get it at the time, but the telemetry to show that on screen. So that's still something I'm working on. Didn't quite get it yet with the app connection, but that is something that I am looking forward to presenting to you guys so you can see live data as I'm presenting it to you. But for now, I'll read off the telemetry from my phone, and you guys will get to see what happens. Enjoy. We're coming around this first corner. We're given the green flag right now. In front of me is a Lotus who is leading for 2 laps under caution. We were not allowed to do so. Again, we're going down the main straight here on Laguna Seca. For my first session, I was maybe going about 110 miles an hour as we hard brake over here to about 40 to turn 1 and 2. Cars are still coming out as well as we're accelerating. Something to know as we're continuing the course is Laguna Seca has a very strict decibel rating. So today's day was a 90 decibel. I mentioned that as we are gaining on this red Corvette in front of us. I believe it's a C5. And as we enter the mother's corner, as I call it, you're going to notice on the right is the decibel recording office, that little box right over there on the right. I mention that because as this Corvette is accelerating up, you're going to notice a black flag coming up on the flag tower on your left. Not just a black flag, but a orange circle inside, which means he's been meatballed because he's been too loud or something is wrong with his vehicle. Coming up to the corkscrew now. This is my first quote-unquote hot lap going into it, but not quite just clear yet. One thing to note on that is going into it for the first time, it is very blind, as I could not see over my car, even trying to boost myself up. It was very difficult to see the line going into it, so definitely take some use to getting to that. Also notice the debris on the ground. They had a clean up an oil spill as somebody on the very first advanced session blew their motor. Came into this a little too hot again. This is my first real hot lap, and definitely noted that need to brake a little bit harder and sooner for that last corner. Coming again through the main straight for the second lap. Cars are still entering from pit lane, staying on their side, of course. We're gonna catch up to a group of vehicles up here as well. Have the new K-Mac camber plates in the front for alignment, and the front end felt very glued in. I still want to dial in a little bit of extra camber right now. I'm just a little over 2 degrees. And braking zone, Rotora brakes doing their job right there and gaining quite the distance on that BMW E46 as we're catching up to a Porsche as well, and as well as another BMW M3, it looks like, from the E36 status. going back to those K-Mac top hats, wonderful, no noise, no clunking. They stayed solid and true for this entire track session and on the way home. Coming into here, the front end has maximum grip with the turn in, and the back end, if anything, is swinging around, helping to rotate, as you can see from some of these videos. Second to last corner, and learning from my last lap, coming into our last corner, I'm going to brake at the number 3 sign to make the turn. Finish it off with full throttle, of course, and down the main course. Alright, so that was my first session completed. First time on the track. You saw coming into that last corner on a hot lap, I clearly overshot it. Still learning the track at this point. So my fastest time on my first session, which wasn't shown in those videos, I just wanted to show kind of the intro of getting out there, was a 1:58. And there's a lot more. And the next segment I'm going to show you is just a quick snippet of my second session. I went by myself, and this is what not to do on the track. It wasn't by myself. I was actually the one making the correction. But when you are coming out from pit lane, you stay in your zone until you come out. You don't come out on the fast straight when somebody's coming around at like 115 miles an hour. You're going to see something like that that's happening to me as I'm passing. So it's not as dramatic on camera, but it was still got my heart pumping. We're going to start my second session here behind an S2000. And again, this is exactly what you do not want to do, what I'm highlighting. So everything is perfect right now on my end. I'm accelerating. He's going to give me the point blank. I'm going to come over here on the left. But pay specific attention right here on the left. This person coming out. Yeah, that is something that should not happen. And it takes me a bit. I'm flustered. I'm going to this corner a little bit too hot, going sideways. But again, pulling out of the pit lane when you're going 30, 40 miles an hour and the flow of traffic is 110 to 115 is not something you're supposed to do. That could have gone horribly wrong. I'm very grateful that I had the space to maneuver on that, but definitely made me flustered. Continuing on, coming up to the mother's corner, I'm gonna get back into my groove. I've got the Acura NSX, the orange one in front of me, as well as the blue BMW M4. And these next couple segments I want to show is there is some distance between us, and clearly the NSX has way more power than both myself or the M4, but I want you to notice where I start gaining traction on the M4. So coming up here to the corkscrew, I brake around the 2 spot actually, turn in, and start on throttle here to come on down. It's a little bit earlier than what I noticed from a lot of other people driving, at least in my group. But it allowed a huge time difference or a gain of pace from other vehicles. Again, coming into this last corner, this was like very hard braking, but you're going to see I gain a lot here. However, they have at least, one of them has 100 horsepower on me, and the orange one, NSX, has 200 horsepower on me. You can see they're utterly gone down the main straight. However, coming into the braking zone, at least with my setup, I'm able to stay on the gas longer or the accelerator because I'm confident in my braking abilities. Here we go, around a nice Corvette. He just got on track, so he's running a little bit slower. Going through the Cooper's tires. Again, here's a nice straight. Around here, I'd get 99 to 101 miles an hour, depending on how I exited out of the Cooper tires. But again, the brake zone coming right around, I can get a little bit of a slide under acceleration mid-corner, and that really helps with accelerating up this hill. I don't have the power again like the M4 or the NSX, so I'm trying as much as I can to use momentum in this 4,000-pound station wagon. To the corkscrew, and I'm going to significantly gain again on the M4.
pretty good right now in my groove. I'm really pushing my boundaries, pushing the tires. And you can see the gain that I'm having on this. Specifically, again, I emphasize in the braking zone. So watch right here. I'm going to gain to maybe about a car length or two. He's going to definitely pull away from me in the straights. However, because of how I did that corner, I was able to get onto power early, so it's not going to be as big of a gap. Coming around again, coming in, I actually don't brake as much as I should, and because of that, I'm super eager to pass. I get on power a little too soon, go off track right here, a little four-wheel drifting, off-roading, jump back on. And unfortunately, that's going to be the end of my session as I do get black flag to come in.
So at this point, this is where I got black flagged and I got pulled in for going off track. They talked to me in the pits and I was sent right back out there. Unfortunately, in the midst of traffic, in some company of an STI, an Evo, a couple S2000s. But what I wanted to demonstrate and show is the confidence in the braking. As you can see, where I'm gaining on that M4 is definitely in the braking zones. It can out-accelerate me on the straights, no doubt about that. But coming into a corner and being able to stay on power for as long as possible and then being confident in your braking system, that is essential for a track day. And I give my hats off to Rotora for making an outstanding product. But let's continue to session 3. You're going to notice I have a different passenger because after my little event there, I got asked if I could have a ride-along. So I said yes with the permission of my girlfriend, and we went ahead and did a ride-along there, and we had some fun times and even some outside footage, which you will see as well.
Starting our third session, coming out straight away from the pit lane. This is definitely one of our faster warm-up laps where we just jump into things. But in front of us in lead is the Acura NSX again, followed by a Honda Civic Type R, which definitely has some modifications on it. And then there's, of course, this being the Volvo Polestar. So they're staying close together. I'm trying to just warm up at my own pace. They're definitely going a bit quicker than what I'm used to for just jumping out for a hot lap. I like to really make sure my tires are warmed and my brakes are warmed up before really pushing it, which is about half a lap, depending on the course, of course. We are coming up, not the main straight, the back straight. And you can definitely see that the NSX has got some space on the Civic Type R, which it should, by all means. Coming up to the corkscrew. And here I get a little sideways just because grip and temperature. See the replay of that right now. And let's slow it down just a little bit for some slip. You can actually see the tire marks left over on it. So a full send right there on the first warm-up lap. Definitely tires aren't up to temp just yet, as I probably comment.
I felt it. You're good.
But I still feel that we are good enough to give it full throttle as we come around the main straight. So this Civic Type R being a front-wheel drive car definitely put down power really well. It just pulled coming out the corners. Definitely opened my eyes for what a front-wheel drive car can do, even though I came from a Fiesta and ST myself.
You're real fast on the straight.
Still in the braking zone, I'm still gaining a little bit, and it's just going to be little by little by little.
That Civic's fast.
So now we're definitely on the hot lap, coming around to the Cuban tires. He's not necessarily pulling on me, but I do think he has more power than me on the straights. So I definitely think that Civic was too. Here around the bend. drive does assist with is corner and exit speed. So I'm able to get onto the power sooner than a front wheel drive or a rear wheel drive would be able to. Again, coming up to the corkscrew, I always feel that I was very confident here and I can gain on people. Of this, just eating away a little bit, and eventually catching up to this Civic Type R to where you can somewhat even focus in the camera view. Coming around here, and I want you just to see again the brake zone, how much I am actually gaining on vehicles. To just highlight again, this braking system broke both for the front and the rear of our cars by Rotora. So again, there was a lot of that, but now we're going to go 3 laps a little bit later to see the progress. Here we are in a little bit of traffic. I've definitely got the Civic Type R in view now. Coming up the back straight. This was a nice cool day as well, 65 degrees, so overheating or charge temps really shouldn't be an issue for any forced induction car. He's definitely pulling on the power range. Coming up here though in the corkscrew where I just get right on him. That's where he finally just gives it up. And that's what I want to show, just being able to finally catch up.
Now for my final session. This is my 4th and final session, and this is where I achieved my fastest time of 1:42. I'm not going to do any talking over. I'm just going to let you enjoy the raw footage. Duly note, on the previous one, it did take me a bit to catch up to that Civic Type R, which had an aftermarket downforce wing and probably some more mods to it, but my car's not stock either. But I hope you enjoy. In this 4th session, there was an NSX, a brand new Acura NSX right behind me the entire time, and you may have saw him in some footage before, but again, with each session, I was getting faster and faster, and this one, even going through traffic and finally getting a nice clean lap, he couldn't catch me until finally I felt something was a little off with my brakes, which we'll get to at the end. I have the NSX behind me.
Oh, is that the orange one?
Yeah.
I wanted to go on that one.
again, I want to apologize for that last video. My Hero 7 ran out of battery, so I went with a backup with the Hero 3, but you can definitely tell the difference in one, the stabilization, the color quality, and even the audio. It's actually making me want to trade in all my old Hero 3s for a newer GoPro. Just seeing the difference borrowing the Hero 7, it's not mine either. So that's probably something I'm going to be doing in the future. But again, with the brakes, at the end of this session, I was noticing they were not working up to par. And as you can see from some of the photos that I'm posting up right now is the pads actually completely wore out after 3 track days. And it's just showing that my skills increasing as a driver. So I'm going to need a more dedicated track pad. I've already contacted Rotora. They're going to be sending me a whole new brake caliper seal kit for the front to replace all the inner seals, the dust boots, as well as upgrading from the H8 pad now to the H9, which in turn what that's going to do is it's going to start wearing less on the pad and a little bit more on that rotor. So it's going to start tipping that balance point on dispensable parts like brakes and such. But look forward for the rebuild video, as that is going to be coming up. And Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you all for subscribing and sticking with me, even through my continuing education and posting sparingly. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, and if you aren't following me on Instagram, you should at T-Shirt Driving.